What's going on, guys? JP back at you once again, bringing you guys another DVD slash Blu-ray slash 4K update. This is probably the biggest one I've ever had. I was putting it off, and the titles just racked up. I have well over 150 titles here, I believe, and yeah. So this is a really big update. It's massive, lot of stuff, a lot of cool stuff. Not very many DVDs. I really don't buy them a lot anymore. And I was thinking about it the other day, and I'm like, man, I think I'm just kind of done with DVDs unless they're like really cheap, or it's like something I don't think is going to get released on Blu-ray in a long time or whatever. But anyway, those of you who were following the 31 Days of Horror, sorry about failing miserably this year, but I just had a lot of stuff going on in my work life, and it just made it almost impossible to do videos. So unfortunately, due to unforeseen circumstances, I had to call it early this year. I actually have I had a couple of videos recorded that were ready to go, but I think I might have just deleted them when I was clearing the camera for this massive update, because I didn't want to run out of space. But I don't know, I'll probably do them still, just here and there or something. I'm always weird where I want to like finish it even if it's forever later. But yeah, so with that said, let's jump into this update. Let's start with some TV shows that I picked up. First up here is the complete series of Dexter and Dexter New Blood, I guess. So the original Dexter series ran for like 7 seasons, I think, and then they did a reboot series with, I believe, or there were 8 original seasons. They did a reboot series for just 1 season. I really enjoyed it. I still was disappointed with how it ended, but yeah, it is definitely a breath of fresh air after the mediocre season, 8, 7, and probably 6 as well. But yeah, this is a massive 106 episodes, 3 hours of bonus features. I don't know when I'll ever rewatch the show, but it was one of my favorite shows of all time. So pretty cool set to have, even though these things are like massive and the discs are horribly packaged. It still is the most I guess spacious that it could be, essentially. After that, we have Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Heroes in a Half Shell, Turtle Power. Gotta say it, right? Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the complete classic series here on DVD. 193 episodes. I remember watching this show a lot. I think it was like a Saturday morning cartoon type thing on whatever, Fox or something. But yeah, I remember watching this growing up. Such a great show. I haven't seen it in such a long time though, so not sure when I'll get around to actually popping those in, but it was like $25 for that set, so figure, worth it. After that, we have one that I've been wanting to pick up forever. This is from Shout Factory, and that is Beetlejuice, the complete series. I watched this a lot on Cartoon Network, I believe, back in the 90s. Really awesome show here. Ran 3 seasons, I think, or no, it ran 4 seasons and 94 episodes. It's always weird to me that these TV series like stop at like close to like a milestone, like 193 for Ninja Turtles and 94 for Beetlejuice. It's like just do 100 at that point, or 200 in that case. But yeah, this is Beetlejuice, the complete series. Great TV show. I really am looking forward to revisiting some of that. Then we have then we have Chucky season 1. Yeah, I watched the first couple episodes when this aired, and I really liked it. So I'm curious to actually check it out and finish the series. I know season 2 aired this past October. Pretty cool that they made this. So yeah, looking forward to checking out the rest of that. And then I grabbed here as it fell on the floor and messed up the box a little bit. Didn't damage it, just sort of opened it up. But we have Dragon Ball Z, the season. This was a Walmart exclusive, I believe. We have season 1, 2, and 3 in here, which is some of the best seasons, probably the best seasons. I think you have the everything up to the Frieza saga, so really solid first 3 seasons there. Episodes 1 to 107. Love Dragon Ball Z. Not a huge anime fan, but Dragon Ball Z has always been a favorite of mine. And then I pretty much finished those 3 seasons, but then we have season 4 through 6, so 4, 5, and 6 here, which I believe goes through the Android sagas up to the Cell game sagas, which I didn't really love when I first watched it. But when I revisited a couple years ago, I actually really found myself liking the Android saga and the Cell saga more than I ever had before. I used to not like Cell as a villain. Everybody loves Cell, and I just was like, he's okay. But I definitely like Cell more now. And then after that, we have the final seasons of Dragon Ball Z. We have seasons 7, 8, and 9, which takes us through the tournament sagas, the fusion sagas, the Boo sagas. So pretty cool. Never been a massive fan of the final couple sagas, but I actually haven't watched anything past the Cell saga since it aired, I believe. Actually, no, that's a lie. I did revisit all of them probably 10 years ago, but curious to see if I will find a new appreciation for the Boo saga, because sometimes you do when you get older, like I did with the Cell saga. And then a show that I barely watched any episodes of ever, and that is Dragon Ball GT, the complete series here on DVD. Those were, I'm sure you noticed, but these were Blu-rays. And I just seen that Walmart actually has the Dragon Ball Super. I think there's 2 seasons per set that they are released in like a double pack. So I'll probably pick those up eventually too. But Dragon Ball GT, I've actually only watched a handful of episodes of this ever. It has a bad rap, but I think that I'll actually probably like it a little bit. I know that people said that it's more similar to Dragon Ball than Dragon Ball Z. So we'll check that out. Alright, now let's move on to the DVDs. Not a lot. We have Hellfest here. Normally I would never pick this up on DVD, but we were covering it on the podcast back for our Halloween episode, and I just so happened the week that we were recording that show, saw this DVD at Walmart for $5. So I was like, you know what, I don't own it. Instead of renting it or finding it streaming, I'll just pick up the DVD for $5. But good movie. I really enjoy Hellfest. It's not amazing, but it's pretty solid. And then we have a couple of bootlegs here that I picked up at some convention. Just stuff that I didn't know had releases or whatever, but they were kind of cheap, so I just grabbed them. We got Funeral Home here, which is a 1980 movie. And then we have, I don't think this has a release, but we have Tobe Hooper's Night Terrors, which I've never seen, starring Robert Englund as Marquis de Sade. Not sure about Night Terrors. I definitely haven't heard it's a Tobe Hooper classic or anything. And then we have, totally forgot that I picked this up actually. We have the Midnight Hour bootleg, which this movie severely needs a release. Such a fun 80s Halloween film. We actually covered this on the podcast for our Halloween episode as well. And then finally for the DVD, I believe we have The Leprechaun's Curse. So a couple years ago there was a movie that was released called The Leprechaun's Game, and I just love Leprechaun stuff, so the original Leprechaun series is like one of my favorites. I even like Red Clover. There's a handful of Leprechaun films that aren't the Leprechaun series, but this is actually the sequel to The Leprechaun's Game, which wasn't a very good movie, but I just had to pick it up. It looks absolutely ridiculous. It's horrible looking, but it's a Leprechaun film, so I had to grab it. Okay, and then that's it for the DVD, I believe. That is it for the DVD. So let's go ahead and get into the Blu-ray. Start off with some Disney stuff. So we have Monsters University. I've never seen Monsters University. I do really like Monsters Inc. though. Fun movie. Curious about the prequel. Then we have Frankenweenie, which I've actually never seen. Never seen Frankenweenie. Don't know much about it. These two are free with the movie rewards that you get when you buy Disney movies. They have like a little code in there. Type them in and you can redeem them for other movies or posters or whatever, but I just get movies. So that is Frankenweenie. And then from the Disney Club, the Disney Movie Club, I re-signed up for that. Long story short, I was trying to build a Disney movie collection for my niece, but ended up just sort of turning into like part of my collection for now. But I grabbed The Watcher in the Woods, which is a 1980 movie, I believe. Never seen it. And then we have 2000 Leagues Under the Sea, which looks like some sort of sci-fi adventure thing. I think I might have seen this as a kid, but I'm not really 100% sure. And then we have an extremely goofy movie, which I do remember watching when it came out, along with a Goofy movie. And then we have Bambi, which I've never seen, but considered a Disney classic. Then we have The Little Mermaid, which I've never seen. And like I said, I was building some stuff for my niece. Something Wicked This Way Comes, which I hear is pretty good, but I've never seen this as well. And then the last one for the Disney stuff is Beauty and the Beast Enchanted Christmas, which I've never seen, but I love Christmas things. So, and then a random Blu-ray I picked up at the Dollar Tree for $1.25 now. That is 6:45 a.m., which I've never seen. Well, go USA. Alright, into some more Blu-rays here. We have The Last Broadcast, which was released by 101 Films, which I thought was a UK company, but I think they're doing some US stuff now. The Last Broadcast, really cool movie. If you've never seen it, I recently rewatched it here for this Blu-ray. It basically is a found footage style film about the Jersey Devil. It came out the same year as the Blair Witch Project, and not really anybody had seen it. It did have a DVD release years ago that went out of print, but this is a Blu-ray release. Finally somebody picked this up and put it out. 1998, really cool sort of landmark film in the found footage genre. Really like The Last Broadcast. And then we have one that I just picked up for Italian Horror Month that we just did. And actually, no. This one I had for a while, so this is probably in a different update. Just noticed that. But anyway, just if you're curious, it was The Psychic, Lucio Fulci. Then we have Dave Parker gave me a copy of this film at a convention that we finally got to meet at. Meet him, Moods. I'm sure you've seen it in Moods' video by now. But we have Slimy Little Bastards, which is a film directed by Dave Parker here on YouTube. Number 35 out of 100. Limited release of 100 copies. I've seen this film before. Very no budget, fun little movie, similar in the vein of like the, very inspired by like Gremlins and Critters and stuff like that, little creature film. But yeah, really cool. Cool to see Dave get his film put on Blu-ray. That's awesome. So I actually forgot to get him to sign it for me, which is not cool. Gonna have to do that next year. This one I picked up at a convention back over the summer, and that is Nathan Rumler's Amityville Vibrator with a tagline of "For God's sakes, get off," which is just honestly like the coolest tagline for this film. But yeah, this is Amityville Vibrator, which I hear is just incredibly sleazy and ridiculous. So definitely going to check that out. I thought there might have been a quote from Dave actually on here, but there is not. Okay, then we have a Umbrella release here. Haven't picked up anything Umbrella in a really long time, but we have Dead Kids, aka Strange Behavior. Pretty fun movie from the 80s. Ozploitation goodness, so that is from their Ozploitation Classics line. I do love Umbrella. They're a great company based out of Australia. I have a handful of Umbrella releases, which you could see some of them back here. I have some over there. And I love the company, but, you know, importing is very, very expensive. And then we have the whole reason that I placed an Umbrella order, and I just decided to throw Dead Kids in there, was this limited release of Martyrs, the Blu-ray here, which I only had the DVD, so I was very happy to finally get this on Blu-ray. Martyrs, of course, is an absolute classic. Make sure there's no nudity on there. Classic French film from the French extreme new wave stuff that was coming out in the mid-2000s. Not my favorite of them. Probably say Inside is my favorite, but Martyrs is my second favorite. Really, really, really awesome movie, and good addition here from Umbrella. Part of their Beyond Genres line, which I think I have like the first 5, and this is volume 22, so definitely missed that collection. But like I said, importing is expensive. Another Dollar Tree pickup here. We got Being. Don't know much about it. Looks like some sort of alien thing or something. And then we have Spree here, which was a really fun movie. This was also a Dollar Tree pickup. I think I liked it more like after I thought about it for a while. It's basically an influencer wannabe who is also like an Uber driver, but it's not called Uber, it's called Spree. And he's also a murderer. Pretty fun movie. Kind of has some commentary on society and the current state of things with influencers and internet culture and stuff. I think this might be my lone Arrow release here. We have Phantom of the Mall, Eric's Revenge. This was not lone Arrow release, but lone Arrow pickup. This was a film that came out in like a more deluxe edition that I've always wanted to see, but I missed out on the deluxe edition. It's sold out, so I ended up just getting this. Actually, I got this from my Secret Satan, which is like a thing that we do in the 22 Shots group where we basically, you know, all draw a name and you buy some stuff for one of the people, the person that you get. And my person got me Tony Hartman, I believe, Phantom of the Mall, Eric's Revenge, which was on my wish list, so been wanting to see that. He also got me the Aztec Mummy collection from VCI, which I haven't picked up a VCI release in forever. It has 3 films here. We got Curse of the Aztec Mummy, The Robot versus the Aztec Mummy, A Wrestling Woman versus the Aztec Mummy. These are films from the 50s and 60s. I believe these are Spanish films, I want to say. But yeah, I figured, what the hell, dude. There's not a lot of mummy movies in the world, so I figured I would check it out. Then this one is from Cauldron, this is my only Cauldron release, but sort of like this company. They released this film, The Collingwood Story, which is one of those like desktop horror / found footage type things from 2002, so it's a very early one. Again, like the last broadcast, such a cool early. Well, I've never seen it, but you know, it's cool to see these films. I didn't even know this existed. I never even heard of this until they put this out. But really, really cool. There was another one that came out in 2002 actually called My Little Eye, which was like similar sort of like I think it was like security cameras or like desktop stuff. I don't really remember, but it also had sort of that found footage-esque style to it. So check out The Collingwood Story. Very curious on that one. And then that was also part of my Secret Satan package. And then finally part of my Secret Satan package is George Romero's The Amusement Park, which is the lost George Romero film that came out, I believe, last year. It's about an hour long. Shudder released it as a Shudder exclusive, and then it got put on Blu-ray. So, yeah, I mean, George Romero, one of my all-time favorite movie directors. I know that's like nothing like super amazing or anything, but it's a piece of history, a piece of George's history, specifically Pittsburgh history, which is, you know, something I love. So that's really cool. And then we have Jacko here from, who put this out? Retro Media? Is that who put this out? I thought that somebody else had put this out, but I guess I'm wrong on that. Yeah, this is actually Linnea Quigley is this damn slipcover won't go back on the damn movie. But this was starring Linnea Quigley. We just reviewed this. It actually has the Linnea signature on there. This is the slipcover signature edition. I paid way too much money for that. I think I paid like $30 for it. Ridiculous. After that, we have the next Vestron title, which just came out a couple weeks ago. The next one, though, is the Silent Night, Deadly Night collection, which has Silent Night 3, Silent Night, Deadly Night 3, 4, and 5, which I cannot wait for. I've been wanting those on Blu-ray forever, especially Part 4 and 5, mainly 5. Part 3 is not very good, but I'm curious on like the commentary on that one. Stuff should be fun. Earth Girls Are Easy. Never seen this film. It has Jeff Goldblum, Damon Wayans, Jim Carrey in it, so pretty interesting cast. And then got a couple of, well, I definitely have more than one Blue Underground, but I don't know where. I tried to order everything, but one of the Blue Undergrounds I picked up, Hell of the Living Dead, as well as Rats Nights of Terror. Both of these films directed by Bruno Mattei. Hell of the Living Dead I just watched recently. It's cheesy Italian zombie flick. Rats Night of Terror. I actually really like that flick, even though they kill a lot of rats on screen, which is never pleasant. But pretty cool movie. Got a bunch of Scream Factory stuff here that I picked up from one of their sales. Mostly picked up a lot of like the old type of films that they released that I just missed out on. So we have Tarantula here. I love these 1950s, nature run amok, giant sci-fi type stuff. Tarantula. I've seen this before when I was a kid. Don't really remember a lot about it. And then we have the Body Snatcher, which I want to say is a Burke and Hare story. I have seen this film before, starring Boris Karloff as well as Bela Lugosi. Pretty classic flick from 1945. But yeah, seen that a couple years ago. But then we have Bug, which I picked up on DVD, MGM DVD, or I think it was MGM, long time ago. Exploding cockroaches in this one. Fun movie. I love insect horror, nature run amok stuff, and this one's Exploding Cockroaches from the 70s. Gotta love it. Another one here from the 70s. We have, which I always hate saying the title because how many S's do you do? But this is mad scientist type movie. I've seen this before. It's this was I watched this late on TV one night, but it's a fun movie. Actually, if you ever seen Curse of Puppet Master, it pretty much remakes this with a puppet. And then we have the Spider. So this is another flick from the 50s. Don't think I've ever seen this one, but it is a giant tarantula spider type thing, and I like stuff like that. Then we have Blood of the Vampire. Have never seen this one. I'm not sure if this is like a Hammer thing or what, but I like these old movies as well. Then we have Quatermass 2, which I just watched the first Quatermass earlier this year for October, and I really liked it, so I'm curious on Quatermass 2. Pretty fun Hammer Studios stuff. Then we have a film from the amazing director Roman Polanski. We have The Tenant here. This is part of the Apartment trilogy, along with Rosemary's Baby and Repulsion. I've never seen Repulsion. Love Rosemary's Baby, and I love The Tenant. The Tenant is a really good flick. Very, very weird psychological type movie. I watched this back when we did the 1976 show. It made my top 10. Always wanted to revisit. Happy to see it get a Blu-ray release. Then we have You'll Like My Mother, which is a 1972 flick that I actually really like. Good movie. This made my top 10 of 72, I believe. Pretty cool movie that not a lot of people talk about. And then we have the third Quatermass film. We have Quatermass and the Pit. So I completed I believe there's 3 like main films. There might be like a reboot or something, but got the original 3 Quatermass movies now. And then we have some good old, I guess you'd call it hagsploitation or psycho biddy flick from the, I believe, the 60s. We have I Saw What You Did. We got Joan Crawford there. William Castle flick. Love the psycho biddy / hagsploitation flicks of the time. Very awesome. Then I've actually never seen that one, but I did see the remake from the 90s, I want to say it was. Then we have The Mangler, which is a Tobe Hooper flick. I did rewatch this, or watch it for the first time this past October. Not really a good movie, but still kind of entertaining. I mean, I can't believe they made 3 of these. There's 3 Mangler movies based on a Stephen King short story, which I have read before, which is, you would read it and be like, this could maybe be like a Tales from the Crypt segment or something, but really like a full movie, that's very, very weird. And not only that, but it runs 106 damn minutes, which is nuts. Definitely too long. Then we have some more of these films from yesteryear. We have 1950s The Mole People, which I believe is a Universal flick. But yeah, I've never actually... Oh, actually, wow, that's pretty cool. So this actually includes the Mystery Science Theater 3000 episode, which I like when they've done that before. I like that. The Mole People. Then we have one of the Hammer Mummy flicks. We have The Mummy Shroud. I think I have one of the other Mummy flicks from them. From the I think there were 3, right? There were 3 Mummy flicks from Hammer. But this one, or the first one, Scream Factory did not release, and I think it's out of print now, on Blu-ray that is, so hopefully somebody re-releases that, but yeah. I've never seen any of those. Return to Salem's Lot. I love Salem's Lot, Tobe Hooper Salem's Lot. I hear this is like an in-name only sequel and it's not very good, but I've always been curious on it. Then we have The Wasp Woman, which I actually already own, so I accidentally, mistakenly picked up The Wasp Woman, which just annoys me because I could just grab something else. But when you own so much stuff, it's easy to do. I've done it a bunch of times now, and it's driving me nuts. Then we have Night of the Seagulls, which is a part of the, what the hell is it called? The Blind Dead series. I think I've seen this one before. I like this movie. I like the Blind Dead films. They're really awesome. If you've never seen them, check them out. And then we have The Alligator People, more of the weirdo stuff that came out in the 50s. This looks like some sort of mad scientist type thing. I'm down. I'm 100% down. Really need to watch these. Then we have Captain Kronos Vampire Hunter, which is actually a Hammer flick that doesn't really get talked about a lot, but it is really good. I really like this movie. If you've never seen it, like, the title's kind of silly, but it's actually a really solid Hammer flick. If you like Hammer, you'd probably definitely like that one. And then we have The Awakening, Charles Heston. I believe this is a film from 1980, and it is I think it's a mummy flick. So not a lot of mummy movies like I mentioned, but I feel like I'm getting most of the ones that exist. Okay, let's continue along here. We have the Universal Horror Collection Volume 3, Tower of London, Man-Made Monster, The Black Cat, and Horror Island. I have the first 2 volumes, still need to get the other 3 volumes, but yeah, these are really cool, the Universal Horror stuff. We have Lipstick, which is another film from 1976 that made my top 10 that year. Pretty cool, like, rape revenge type movie from my memory. I don't remember it a ton, but I remember really liking it when I watched it. Then we got a modern flick from them, the Poughkeepsie tapes, which I believe is a found footage film. I've never seen it. It kind of was a little underground for a while there. I think it was hard to find, but came out in 2008. Finally got a disc release. I've always wanted to see it though. Alright, let's continue. Bubba Hotep Collector's Edition from Scream Factory, Don Coscarelli film. I watched this, I believe this came out in 2002 or 3. I watched this years ago, and I wasn't really crazy about it. It was definitely probably my least favorite Don Coscarelli film that I had seen. But, you know, as time goes on, my opinions change, so rewatching it, I would... Oh, also a damn mummy movie. How about that? Not like... I don't think it's like traditional, like, bandage-wrapped mummy, but... yeah, how about that? Yeah, but... Bruce Campbell's in this one. Love Don Coscarelli, and I recently read his book, and he talked a lot about that movie, so, you know, it definitely opened my mind to giving it a rewatch. And then I believe last for the Scream Factory Blu-rays here, we have The Deadly Mantis, another one of those giant insect, giant monster, bug, creature movies of the... This one is the 50s, so yeah, definitely got a lot of those to check out, and I love that stuff. And I haven't seen that one. Alright, next up here, we got a box set. This is the Paranormal Activity Collection here. This is the Ultimate Chills Collection. You have Paranormal Activity, Paranormal Activity 2, Paranormal Activity 3, Paranormal Activity 4, one of the best in the series, Paranormal Activity, the marked ones, and then Paranormal Activity, the Ghost Dimension, and then the newest film, Paranormal Activity, Next of Kin. And then they also included that documentary that was on Paramount Plus called Unknown Dimension, which was really cool, which basically talked about the whole series. Believe it or not, I actually love these movies. I think that all of them are good, probably with 4 and 6 being the weakest, but 1, 2, 3, and 4 are great. Next to, the marked ones is probably my second favorite in the series, and Next of Kin was decent, but I wish they would have connected it to the story somehow. It's sort of its own thing. Then we have Criterion. There's a Criterion sale going on right now. This was actually more discounted than usual. Normally, Criterion Blu-rays are $20. This was $15, so I grabbed it. I also ordered one more Criterion, but it didn't show up yet. And that is The Uninvited, which I have seen before. Good movie. Classic haunting flick from the 40s. Alright, and then, oh, there's the other Blue Undergrounds. First up here, I think MVD was doing a sale on these. So I picked up like 2 or 3 titles. We have here the Post-Apocalyptic Collection, which features 1990 The Bronx Warriors, Escape from the Bronx, and The New Barbarians, which were directed by Enzo Castarelli. These are fun movies, post-apocalyptic flicks. I've always wanted to pick up this set, but it's always been $25 or more. Finally grabbed it for under $20, I think, so I was happy about that. I just figured that I'm not sure if that'll ever get like 4K or anything, even though Blue Underground's doing a lot of that like 4Ks now. I'm not sure that's one that's high on their list, so I'm real iffy about buying like older Blue Underground Blu-rays now, because I pretty much buy most, if not all, of their 4K titles, and a lot of them are re-releases, so if I don't own the Blue Underground stuff already, I try not to dip into it too much, because I'm afraid that the moment I do, they'll get announced for a 4K. But yeah, then we have Christopher Lee in The Blood of Fu Manchu and The Castle of Fu Manchu, which I've never seen any of these movies. But they look ridiculous. Both Jess Franco films. Which is hit and miss. I think this might be my lone Synapse pickup. Besides, I think I have a 4K as well. Creature from Black Lake. I absolutely love Bigfoot movies, and look at that cover. That is one awesome, awesome cover. And This one I remember seeing years ago, and I do like it. So, Creature from Black Lake. Pretty cool to see that get released. Okay, let's move on to some Kino stuff. Hit up a Kino sale. We got Birkenhair, which I did speak of earlier when talking about another flick. I like the Birkenhair story. It's a cool story. You know, basically people stealing bodies for scientific purposes and stuff. There's one from the Scream Factory release from the 80s. 82 was it? I don't really remember. 85 maybe. Forget the name of that movie, but I really like that one too. So that's Birkenhair. Then we have a couple of redemption titles. We have Miss Zombie, which I didn't own. Still trying to grab most of these redemption titles that I missed out on back in the day. They were always so expensive, but recently Kino has been putting them on part of their sales, so I've just been grabbing them as I see them. The Comeback, which I thought I owned, but apparently I didn't because I don't see it anywhere. Another genre long film, which recently there was a documentary that came out that I watched part of Fantasia Film Festival. I forget the name of it now, but it's a documentary on genre long, and it's really good. And I really, really, really like his flicks. They're very different, very Euro, artsy, you know, low budget, but artistic. And this is one of my favorites of his, The Grapes of Death, which isn't a vampire movie. A lot of his flicks are. But yeah, this is a cool one. If you've never delved into genre long, definitely do it. He has some really interesting movies. I've liked everything I've seen from him. Some are better than others, but they're cool movies. Jess Franco's Exorcism. Again, with Jess Franco, you never know, but yeah. This one here, and all these are numbered on the spine. I think there's a mistake in some point in the series, but I have a lot of them now, but I'm still missing some. Home Before Midnight. Don't know anything about that one. And then we have here Trans-Europe Express. Don't know anything about that one. And then we have another Jess Franco film, Nightmares Come at Night. Never seen that. And then we have here, I don't even know the title of this. May Chin's Daily Life, Bloody Carnage Residence. Here from the Redemption line, which is a 2014 Japanese movie. Huh. Never heard of it. Other Kinos that are not redemption titles. We have The Lodger, which I've never seen, but it's 1944. Kino, the thing I love about Kino is their releases are so cheap when they go on sale. $10 each for most of these. Gotta love that. And they put out so much cool stuff. They're very underrated. When you talk about like the big companies, you got your Severins, your Vincents, your Scream Factories, your Arrow. Kino is slept on. They're a good company. This movie, I love this movie. This is part of actually Scorpion released this in co-released with Kino, and that is Fritz the Cat, 1970s adult animation classic. Absolutely love Fritz the Cat. I remember late one night it was on HBO and I watched it as a kid. Probably shouldn't have, but yeah, just there's some stuff in this one, as you can tell by the cover. I picked up 9 Lives of Fritz the Cat, which is the sequel, during another Kino sale, so I was very happy to finally get the original, which is much better. Then we have Gog, which I think I've seen before, sci-fi film from 1954. Another thing that I will mention about the Kino releases that I absolutely love is they always have like a film historian commentary on them, and I love those. I wish I listened to more of them. Wish I had time, because I love those film historian commentaries. They're so entertaining, and you learn so much. Mario Bava flick that I've never seen here, which I hear is pretty good. 1965's Planet of the Vampires, which is another Kino release here. Pretty cool, pretty cool. And then we have a Lucio Fulci film that I've never seen. Not a horror flick, but it's Code Red release, which, rest in peace, Bill Olsen recently died, the owner and creator, I guess, of Code Red. Rest in peace. Definitely a lot of interesting Code Red flicks over the years. But we have Conquest, Lucio Fulci's Conquest. Any film from a master of horror, you know, even if it's not horror, I'll pick up. Like Severance releasing that one Argento comedy that, forget the name of it, but I'll pick that up just because I'm a completist when it comes to these masters of horror directors. I guess I did have another redemption title here. We have Eden and After. This one is from 1970? 1972. Actually, surprised that this one did not... Well, it might not be a horror film, that's why. But it didn't come up in the 72 show. A couple other kinos here. We have the UFO incident, which looks ridiculous. 1975. I feel like my alien movie knowledge is like a little lacking, so it's pretty cool. I watched all three of these this past October. You have Tarantulas, the Deadly Cargo, which is a pretty cool nature run amok film from the 70s. I like that. Then we have Ants from 1977, which is really fun. I've seen this a few times, and it was fun to revisit. Again, Nature Run Amok. And then we have the sequel to the Savage Bees, I believe. And that is Terror Out of the Sky, a.k.a. The Revenge of the Savage Bees, which is a killer bee movie, as you might have guessed. So that's that. Alright, let's move on here to some Severance. We have Dr. Butcher, MD. I actually recently got to see this at a drive-in, which is really cool. Italian flick. Also goes under the title Zombie Holocaust. I think there's 2 different cuts of the movie. And then we have one that we will be covering on a future episode of 22 Shots when we cover some Sergio Martino flicks. We have The Strange Vice of Miss Ward. And Miss Ward. I've never seen this before, but I like some Sergio Martino, so that should be fun. Now we have a film that I've never seen, don't know anything about, and that is Shock Treatment from Severance. Picked a couple of these up at a convention. Then we have Nosferatu in Venice, which I've never seen, but Klaus Kinski. Good stuff. This one here, which I don't know much about, but it is from 81, called A Day of Judgment. Then we have a flick that I have seen before. This is John Russo, of course, from Night of the Living Dead fame. We have Midnight, which is a pretty fun movie from 82, I believe. No, or 1980, actually. And then we have Family Portraits, A Trilogy of America. I believe this is an anthology film from 2003. Don't really know much about it, but I was kind of curious about it when I seen it released. Here we have... I don't even know what this movie is. Oh, okay. That's because it has a different title on the cover. This is Mardi Gras Massacre, which when I picked this up from the booth at a convention, they actually gave me a free Mardi Gras Massacre comic, which is pretty cool. Never seen this movie. I believe it's a slasher from the 80s, though. This one. I wanted to pick this up because it was limited. I figured it would eventually go out of print. It's a horrible movie, but it's kind of fun. It stars my boy Warwick Davis from the Leprechaun franchise. And it is, if you haven't guessed, Skinned Deep, which is just a ridiculous movie. It's very ridiculous, but it's pretty fun. It's actually in our Hall of Pain. More Severin. We have Count Dracula, which is a Jess Franco film. It's actually a really good Dracula flick. Then we have Day of the Animals, which is a classic Ozploitation flick. Good movie. You know, nature run amok, as you can tell. There's been a theme of this. And then we have, I heard this one was really crazy and fun, but it is Don't Go in the House. which is pretty cool cover on this one. It's like made to look like a VHS or something. Got Severin video. Another one from Severin here. This one I wanted to see for a really long time. It is Night of the Demon, which is a Killer Bigfoot movie. Probably the most violent Killer Bigfoot movie that I've seen. It's good. There's a guy that gets his thing ripped off by Bigfoot. It's crazy. But something funny about this movie, it's told through a flashback. The story's told through a flashback, and in the flashback, the character knows stuff that he shouldn't know. He knows like what happened in someone's dream. It's really silly. A absolute favorite of mine from the wonderful Rogerio Deodato, and that is House on the Edge of the Park. I was waiting on this to get a release for a very long time on Blu-ray. And in fact, this poster on the Blu-ray case there is one of my absolute favorite posters of all time. Love that poster. Such an awesome Italian flick. Alright, and we have a 3 Severin box sets next. First one here is House of Psychotic Women. I picked this up at Cinema Wasteland. Had to grab it. Rarities compilation. We have Identikit, I Like Bats, Footprints, and The Other Side of Underneath. Pretty cool box set. Alright, and then this one I had to grab because I love me some nunsploitation. We have Nasty Habits, the Nunsploitation collection, which includes Christina Devil Nun, Story of the Closeted Nun, Images in a Convent? Sorry, the font is messing me up. The True Story of Nun of Monaza. Dude, I just made myself sound like an idiot. But yeah, the Nunsploitation box set. Okay, so, and then this one is the creme de la creme of the Severin pickups. The coolest, one of the coolest box sets ever. We have All the Haunts Be Ours, which this thing is heavy. This is a 12 Blu-ray, 3 CD, 20 feature film, 15 hours of special features box set, which includes Eyes of Fire, Lepatertia, Witchhammer, Vi, Lake of the Dead, which I already own Vi on Blu-ray, so that kind of annoys me. Tilbury, The Dreaming, Cadacia, Cilia, Allison's Birthday, Wolfsda, Locus. I'm just gonna stop now. And A Field in England. I could pronounce that one. And Robin Redbreast. I could pronounce that one too. But yeah, it also includes that really big documentary on folk horror, which is really cool. This is an awesome box set. If you didn't pick this up, you definitely should. It's folk horror, good stuff, good stuff. And it has a lot. There's a lot more that could be in that box. So they could literally do like a couple volumes of that. But really, really cool to see. Very, very good history of folk horror in there. I've seen a handful of those films. All right, next up, my favorite company out there. We're going to go with some Vin Sin. Absolutely love Vinegar Syndrome. All right, so first up here, we have Moon of the Wolf, part of the VSA line. This was one of their October releases. This is a pretty fun movie from the 70s. It's a TV movie. Werewolf flick. I mean, it's not that great, but I'm sure cleaned up on a Blu-ray will look fantastic and be fun. Then we have Red Surf here, which is another VSA title. I don't have all the VSAs. I kind of was late to the boat on those. So I missed a lot of like the first like 10 or so, which sucks. And I missed a couple other ones too, but I do like what they're doing with the VSA line. We have TC2000. Just looks cool. Looks like some sort of Terminator type thing. Let me see here. We have Grave Secrets, which is another VSA title. And then we have Tiger Claws. Tiger Claw is 1, 2, and 3. It's a trilogy. More bang for your buck. And then I think that's all the VSAs. So now we have some other stuff. No, there's one more that I missed down at the bottom. Tried to put them in order. Oh, can't show that. Just show the back, I guess. But don't open till Christmas. There is boobs on the front cover, so not sure what the rules are on YouTube these days, but I'm sure you can't show nudity. Yeah, Christmas horror flick. I can't show the inside here, but there is a like a little thing here where they all the people from Vincent signed it. It says Merry Christmas and stuff. Pretty cool thing. But yeah, I was happy to see this finally get a release onto Blu-ray. I think there was a DVD from Mondo Macabro years ago, so glad to see that get Blu-ray. Love me some Christmas horror. Love it, love it, love it. Death Row Game Show, one of their older titles that I needed, picked up during a sale. This was one of the October releases from the partner company of Vincent, and that is the Amityville Curse, which was the only of the mainline Amityville films that hadn't been released on Blu-ray, because obviously 1, 2, and 3 came out from Scream Factory in a Blu-ray box set, and then Vinegar Syndrome released a handful of them in a box set with like Dollhouse and Next Generation and the fourth film, and forget all of them, the Cuckoo Clock one, but I really like the ones that I've seen. This is the only Amityville flick that I haven't seen. I might have seen it when I was a kid. In terms of the main line, I know there's like 50 other films that anybody could use the title. But yeah, we have Amityville Curse there. And then we have another one of their October releases. We have Blood Delirium, which is an Italian flick. Never seen it. Here it's pretty fun. Then we have Scared to Death, which was part of one of the packages. Pretty much just get the packages now. I think I only missed one in the last 12 months. Scared to Death. And that's the thing with Vincent. I don't know a lot of these movies, but it's always an experience watching Vinegar Syndrome titles. This one looks ridiculous. Voyage of the Rock Aliens. They started releasing a bunch of like rock horror stuff. And then we have Horror High and Stanley. I'm actually not a big fan of these like slipcovers that have like one cover on one side and one on the other. But I do appreciate, at least on the spine, they have both films listed. And then on the, I guess the main cover you have Stanley, okay, it does have both of them on there. I'm tripping. This is a long video. What are we at now? Almost an hour. Shouldn't take too much longer, guys. The Vineyard, which I think I've seen years ago, 1989. Looks like a slasher or something. This one I had to pick up. I love these packaging that they do. It's sort of this one that they do the VSU package with. Is this a 4K? Or is it just a Blu-ray? Yeah, I think it's just a Blu-ray. Okay, so yeah, these packages are like super dope. And it's probably the best packaging in any media releases that I could think of. This movie is super interesting because it was an unfinished movie that they got the rights to, and they finished it. They have a bunch of like known people doing the dubbing for the film. I haven't seen it, but I hear it's like a really nifty project. So that's cool. Then we have Disconnected, which is a movie from 1984. I've never seen that one. One that I have seen is Mountaintop Motel Massacre. Haven't seen this in such a long time, but pretty fun movie. Then we have Play Dead, which I assume is a killer animal movie, killer Rottweiler, but could be wrong. Sometimes it looks like that and then it's not. Hell Comes the Frog Town, starring Rowdy Roddy Piper, who I really like. I like Roddy Piper, rest in peace. Never seen Hell Comes to Frogtown, but it always looked ridiculous. And I love the title. Because it's funny, we used to have used to, still do. There's a part, an area in my area that is called Frogtown. So I always thought that was cool. Psychos in Love. Pretty fun movie there. Kind of like a meta parody type thing. I can't remember. Maybe I'm thinking of Unmasked Part 25. But I think it's two serial killers start dating or something. I've seen it before. I just can't remember. Death Machine. Machines with an S. Don't know anything about this one, but the cover's cool. This is an older release too. Then we have, which I was really excited about this. We have The Birds 2. Land's End. I watched this recently for the 91 show? 94 show. And I actually really liked it. It's not as good as Hitchcock's The Birds, but for like a TV movie sequel, it's not bad. Okay, then we have this one here, which is this 2 movies? Yeah, 2 movies here. Hot Snake and Guns and Guts. It's so funny that I pick up so much stuff. Like, I'm looking at this and I'm like, I don't think I've ever seen this cover before in my life. And I own it. So, I don't know, dude. It's getting bad. Getting bad. We have Edgar Allan Poe's Buried Alive. See, at first I thought this was the TV movie from that Kino put out called Buried Alive, and I was like, damn, I just picked that up, but it's not. It's not that movie, which makes me happy. Okay, and then we have Mutant Hunt, which looks ridiculous and fun. I think this was one of their recent releases too, maybe the October package, or the September package. The Iceman Cometh. And then, man, I'm running out of space here, guys. This was the other VSA that I didn't have with the others. We have Red Sun Rising, which looks like another martial arts flick. Okay, and then the last for the Vinegar Syndromes, not counting 4K, is Forgotten Gialli Volume 5, which includes A White Dress for Miracle, Tropic of Cancer, and 9 Guests for a Crime. Haven't seen any of these, but I love what these Giallo box sets, and I love their box sets. They're just very nice. Looking forward to the Homegrown Horrors box set that's coming out, the Volume 2, because I recently watched all 3 of the flicks in the first volume, and it was a really cool experience. Alright, now we're going to get into the 4Ks, and then we'll be done, boys. We have Severin's Pertita Durango here. From Alex de la Iglesia, 4K. Don't know anything about this film, but the cover is pretty cool. These 2 I got from the Disney Movie Club. Forgot to decline the whatever you call it. But I actually liked. I'd seen the second one, never seen the first one. But we have Doctor Strange and Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, which is directed by the OG horror director Sam Raimi. I don't know why I was blanking on the name. But yeah, not a huge Marvel fan, but recently I've been kind of getting into him a little bit. Then we have The Lost Boys, classic. I just got to see this in the theater a month ago. I mean, dude, it's The Lost Boys, 4K. I don't even know if I own The Lost Boys on Blu-ray, so pretty cool. But I will say, I'm done buying these studio titles at full price because it's just not worth it. I mean, usually they're discounted to like $10. Just, a couple months down the road, but The Lost Boys, I couldn't say no. And then Scream 2, which is another studio title I probably overpaid for, but I have Scream 1 on 4K, gotta get Scream 2. These, again, see, this is smart because I didn't pull the trigger on these and I got them for cheap. That is Halloween 2018 and Halloween Kills. So now I just need to grab Halloween Ends when I can. This one I had to pull the trigger on it at $20. Friday the 13th, my favorite franchise. First one made it to 4K. What I would like them to do is just every year do one. You know, part 2 next year. Well, maybe not every year because it'll take a long time. But like, you know, slowly release them. What I don't want to happen is them to release like the first 3 and then Scream Factory puts out a 4K box set, because I literally might hang it up after that. Can't take it anymore. But the transfer on that actually was not that amazing, which is a little bit disappointing. But I don't think none of the, like, even the Blu-ray set that Scream Factory did, I wasn't blown away by any of the transfers. Maybe the Friday the 13th movies just can't look like that amazing, I guess. Then we have a Blue Underground here. We have God Told Me to Kill. I think it's sometimes called God Told Me to Kill. Good movie from Larry Cohen. I like it. And then we have Uncle Sam from Bill Lustig, which is not very good. Old Billy Lust, this is probably his worst movie. But the cover's cool. I mean, that cover. I will say this. Blue Underground, in my opinion, does the best 4K transfers. All the ones I've seen have looked amazing. Severin, also filmed by Alex de la Iglesia, Day of the Beast, which I've never seen, but I hear is really good. And then we have part of the Andy Warhol double feature. We have Blood for Dracula, which I've never seen. This is a 4K though. Pretty cool release. Then we have a awesome release from Synapse, which the transfer on this was really good. Synapse probably does the second best transfers in my opinion for the 4Ks. And we have Dario Argento's Tenebrae, which in my opinion is probably Argento's, like, it's a top 3 Argento film, maybe 2. Suspiria is always my number 1, which Synapse also released Suspiria on 4K, and it looks gorgeous. Probably my favorite 4K that I own. But Tenebrae, amazing Argento film. One of my all-time favorite directors. Vinegar Syndrome here. We have The Incredible Melting Man. Never been a big fan of this movie. Kind of weird to see this one on 4K, but I'm sure the gooey body effects are going to look good. This one here, I don't really know anything about it. The Miami Connection. This one I got for really cheap on a sale. That is Terminal Island, which is a fun movie. I do like Terminal Island. It's I don't know what it's sort of like Battle Royale type thing, I think, from my memory. Haven't watched it in a long time though. Speaking of Amityville Horror, we have the original classic here. Surprised they didn't do a box set with 1, 2, and 3 on 4K, considering they apparently can get MGM titles. But yeah, I mean, it's a classic. I love the Amityville Horror. Not as good as the Amityville 2, but, you know, pretty damn good. Then we have their third VSU title, which is Cloak and Dagger. The fourth one is Roadhouse, which I have no interest in, but I'm going to have to pick it up. Never seen it, but I don't know. I think that these packages, the packaging are the best. It's just so cool. The magnet, love it. I've never seen Cloak and Dagger. And then we have the superior release to the Synapse version. We have Thriller, A Cruel Picture, which is a movie that I've never seen, but I definitely want to check it out. And then we have The Werewolf versus the Vampire Woman. Surprised, this is kind of a weird one to get a 4K, considering I know nothing about it. But cool nonetheless. And then we have the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, which I might actually pop this in right after I get off of here because I can't wait any longer. One of my favorite sequels from one of my favorite franchises, which is a sequel to my favorite film. Then we have Universal Monsters Collection Volume 2, Icons of Horror, The Mummy, Bride of Frankenstein, Phantom of the Opera, and Creature from the Black Lagoon. The first collection is really cool. I hope they continue to do these, just do all the, even the sequels, you know. Just keep doing the Universal Monsters on 4K in this style instead of one giant box set that's like $300. I'd rather pick these up every once in a while for $40, but I don't know if they'll continue to release them because they might just be doing the, you know, the most popular ones like Dracula, Frankenstein, Invisible Man, and then The Mummy, Bride of Frankenstein, which is arguably as popular as Frankenstein, Creature from the Black Lagoon, Phantom of the Opera. The next set would end up being the sequels. You know, they would start getting into the sequels. I mean, I would like to see it. I'm not sure if they see value in it, but I think it would be nice if they kept doing them. Speaking of box sets, we have the Alfred Hitchcock Classics Collection Volume 2. This one has 5 films: Saboteur, Shadow of a Doubt, The Trouble with Harry, Marnie, and Family Plot. I've actually not seen any of these. I really like the first set that they did. I'm not sure how many more films they own the rights to, if any. I'm not sure if we'll get a Volume 3 or not, but it would be cool. Love Hitchcock. Then we have the Funhouse, which is a pretty good transfer here on Scream Factory release. I really love the Funhouse. It's a movie that's grown on me tremendously. I love the only thing I will say is the intro where they're just hanging out at the carnival is like a lot more fun than like the slasher elements, which is bad, I guess, because it's a slasher film, but I really like the interactions and them just kind of like kicking it. Child's Play 4K from Scream Factory. Love Child's Play. And I love even more, even though they're probably not better, Child's Play 2 and Child's Play 3. I absolutely love these two. Child's Play 3 has grown on me so much. I absolutely love the setting, the military academy. It's one of the most unique settings in a horror film or a slasher film. It doesn't get talked about enough. I love Child's Play 3, and it ends in a carnival too, which is awesome. Then we have Candyman here, which is a classic. Absolutely love Candyman. And then finally, we're going to wrap this one up, guys. We have one more thing. We have the Halloween collection, I guess 4K collection here, which has Halloween 6, The Curse of Michael Myers, Halloween H2O, and Halloween Resurrection. I assume that the camera, the 4K is of Halloween 6 and the producer's cut. It better be. I didn't really look into it, but these, I mean, I like Halloween 6. It's fun. Halloween H2 I actually really like. It's one of my favorites in the franchise. Halloween Resurrection sucks. This box set got a lot of hate because it's like, oh, they're releasing the shitty sequels on 4K. But why not? They already released the other ones. So anyway, that's it, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed. I'm tired of talking. See you guys next time. Peace.